We've got audio, so then we may begin. Very well. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LV tribe, as well as everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious, hot, sunny, windy day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, today being Shabbat, the 27th of Tevet, the 10th month, it's on its way out. Now, we shall see when we get the next month of the year 5994 from creation, today being the 17th of January of the year 2026, in which we shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 50. We are completing a jubilee of wisdom and discipline. We have to get to 6,000. If you want this to end, it's 120 cycles of 50. No, but we have to also study all the other subjects. So then, I don't know how many subjects more we'll have, but well, this is subject number 50. So then, we shall begin by greeting those who have had a birthday during this week, which are Jaci Mayor Silveira, Brazil, Nidia Astrid Ramos Hernandez, Mexico, Dani Hernandez, Venezuela, Lino Garza, the US of A, Francisco Lopez, Mexico, Isis Correa Cortez, Nicaragua, Moussa Gassama, Francia, Diana Claudia Primo, Argentina, Nancy Esmeralda Bernal, the US of A, Adriano Matsuyama, Japan, Fernanda Pascal, Quesada Exmon, Chile, Christian Richard Astudillo, Chile, Jimena Ramos, Mexico, Sonia Perdomo de Yepes, Venezuela, and Wilbur Giovanni Lopez de la Cruz, Guatemala. To each and every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of the entire Eternal Truth. A very happy birthday, greetings, happiness, and may you not have any more birthdays under this system of Babylon. That is our wish, although we may have to have a couple more birthdays because we believe that we're going to enter into the seventh millennium barely in 2032, and everything that has to do with the Mashiach, and that Yahweh no longer does his work. We always have to see it from the seventh millennium, because on the seventh day, Yahweh said, and he completed his work on the seventh day. And he said, it's all good. And he rested. So then from the seventh day, Yahweh looks at his work, which means that it's 6 days entirely. He doesn't look from the sixth day and says, my whole work is complete, very pretty. No. He ends the sixth day and the Shabbat begins. And in the beginning of the Shabbat, he's not going to be staying here in the middle of the Shabbat. At the beginning of the Shabbat, he looks, because it also would not make sense to say that halfway through the Shabbat and say, well, no, now I'll rest. No, he didn't work half the Shabbat, but from the Shabbat, he says, I've completed the 6 days of the week. My work is marvelous. Now I go off to rest. But from the seventh day. So then we'll have to be here a couple more years on this earth, suffering this world that's so cruel, which we have to live in. But that's the way it is. Time to go out and look for the moon. It is the 29th day, so then everyone of those who believe, and we're one in the eternal truth, we must go out and look for the moon. This Monday, at sunset, the moon will be seen, and we have to go out and look for it. And as you already know it, I've told you this 1,000 times over, even if we don't see it, we're going to switch over to the next month. For what reason? Because we do it just because, to go out and look for the moon. We have that tradition, but actually the moon will be there, and just because we don't see it, are we going to lengthen the month? No, the moon will be there, and it's most likely that we'll see it, but if we don't see it, either way, we'll swap over to the next month, because the moon, we've already entered into the new month because of the position of the moon. So then this Monday, when the sun's going down, the moon will be visible, very fine, very fine. For all the new ones, those who forget, we look for the moon immediately after the sun goes down. We've got like 40 minutes to try to see the moon. After 45-50 minutes, the moon already on the 29th day won't be able to be seen because it goes down. Because they're too close. The sun goes down, they're very close together, and the moon goes down because they're almost stuck together. On the previous month, in other words now, the moon is before the sun. The moon goes down and the sun goes down. On the day where they switch the month, it's the hidden day that they talk about when there's no moon, because they both go down together. The whole transit, and when they say they go down, they don't go down in the horizon. It's a flat terrain, but they'll go far away, and it seems like it goes down. They never go down. They're always above. It's not. We don't live in a ball. It's a flat world. But when it draws away from us, it does the effect that they get lost below the horizon. It never gets lost. It's just that their light, it's just too far away for us to be able to see it, and it gives the sensation and effect that it would seem for it to be mixing with the horizon. It goes down, but it never goes down, but it's a way of speaking. On the first day of the new moon, the moon separates from the sun, so then the sun hides first from our eyesight, and then the moon, that time, is very short, 40 minutes tops. The sun has to be perfect. There has to be no smog, clouds, storm, nothing. Good visibility, and we can see the moon. That's the way it is. It is difficult on the 29th day, but always someone sees it, and if you don't see it, we're going to switch over to the next month either way. Either way, everyone off to look for the moon on Monday, and then we go into the 11th month, which bears the name of Alejandro Martinez was the name of the 11th month. Why should I ask? No one knows. Eduardo, Hector, Uriel, they're always looking at each other. They're always like, oh my God. Oh, don't look at me. Others hide. No, don't look at me. They're hiding. It's called Shevat. Shevat. It's called Shevat. The month number 11 is called Shevat. And we shall study, enter into the month of Shevat. So then, as you already know, on Tuesday, as soon as the day begins, and when the sun goes down on Monday, we enter into the month of Shevat. Tevet is on its way out in order for the 11th month to enter, which is Shevat. Very well. Ever since I asked you last Shabbat, we had 268 subscribers in Odyssey, the other secondary channel, parallel to this one of YouTube. And now we've got 286, so then we went up 18. And a shame in my point of view. So then I'll ask you once again, every one of you listening to me here, if there's anyone that has forgotten, that has not found, that was not able to, that said I'll do it later and didn't do it, subscribe to the Odyssey channel. That you don't even have to look for anything. Right here in this same video, you go below and you look at the description of the video. That is where the Odyssey channel is. You also have the Rumble channel. The Rumble channel had 128 subscribers. Now we've got 158. So then we've augmented how many? 30. 30 we went up. And it was better that we went up 30, but we still have 158. Another shame. Everyone listening and who are listening right now, how many are we listening right this very moment? We've got 115. 115 it says. Very few. 115 people, either way. Well, I thought there was going to be more. 115 people. Well, out of those 150, 118. You all subscribe to these two channels or not? Check if you're subscribed or not. If you're not, then check. And if you're listening to me later, not live, also check whether you're subscribed or not. Or else look in the description of this video and you subscribe. It doesn't cost you absolutely anything. And the day in which they take this account, because they already took the account out already, the previous one, so you'll be able to find us quickly in those channels. Not just that, but there's a whole quantity of videos that are not found here. A whole quantity of videos not found here. If you're bored, you got nothing to do, And instead of watching stupidity on YouTube, you can look for old subjects to see if there's any differences with what we've spoken of today or things that you don't know. So here you've got both channels of YouTube. On both, I believe that we've got the flat earth subject. If you've never watched it, it'd be good. It's an old one. We've talked about it back in 2015. It's been 11 years already that we're flat earthers. 11 years back. Shema Israel. YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh. Our God, Yahweh, is one alone. This is the secret in order to begin to understand the scriptures. And the scriptures are concealed. Paul said, I'm going to start with barbarity here. Since it's only a few listening, maybe 2 or 3 more leave. Paul said that he would give the entire law and everything he knew about the Torah. That's what he says. Everything, all the scriptures, I give them as, what word did he use? Do you remember what word he used? He used dung, as dung. So he says, from the point that I understand this new truth, which is actually the new truth in which the Messiah had come, although he also ate the fact that eating the lie that he was the Messiah, he was just an image of the Messiah. He was Yahweh himself. He says, I give everything as dung. Dung, speaking in a way of what people consider to be a bad word. How do you say? You say shit. I have everything as if it were shit. In English, it's shit. Paul said, I give everything as shit. So then I would ask, as shit, what do you have as shit? He says, the Bible. What do we call the Bible in English? Holy Bible. So then I would say the word holy shit is the Bible. It's another name, another new name of the Bible, holy shit. You might say, you see how in Spanish they call it the Holy Bible. It's the holy shit. Well, actually, it's an actual holy shit. Why is it holy shit? Why? Because it is the dog shit that God gave us, that in the midst of all that dog shit he gave us, we have to be digging in his dog shit to try to find the pearls, because the text says so. It says the glory of Elohim is to conceal the word in the shit. Yet the glory of the king is to search out and to draw out the shit from the word. So then holy shit, yeah, holy shit. We are followers of the holy shit. You never imagined that it was the holy shit, right? Holy shit is the same thing as if to say the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible, the holy shit. Because it is dog shit. And the pearls that there are enclosed in that dog shit. I haven't said it, Paul said it. Paul said, I give everything as it were dog shit. I'm not making anything new. Paul said, holy shit. It says, we're not going to write that. First of all, no one speaks Spanish here. No one speaks English here. It says, everything's dog shit. No, they don't speak English, and it'll be kind of offensive. Write something else. Okay? I'll have everything as if it was dung. But I've just discovered what really is the holy shit. The holy shit. It is the word of God. Because it is concealed, and you already know the substance. Why is it shit what is concealed? Because it's not something pretty. What he conceals, it's something that is absolutely negative. Or else just look at the religions. The Jewish one, which is absolute shit. And the Christian one, which is complete shit with another flavor. And if we add the other ones to the Abrahamic ones, like the Muslim ones, it's another type of shit. We've got 3 types of shit. We got the Jewish shit, the Christian shit, and the Muslim shit. It's all shit. It's all dog shit. It's all dog shit, and we have to be digging out into the dog shit in this world, in this word of God, looking for the pearls. In order to get the pearls, this is, oh, you're king now. The rest eats the entire dog shit. Well, that is how we start today's subject. In case somebody says, oh, I wanted to look for a Christian preacher, what am I listening to? You're listening to the holy shit. The dog shit word of God. It's just that I'm giving you the words. the pearls. One of the greatest pearls is Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. It's not two gods. It's not three gods. God doesn't have a divine son to give. The Son of God did not come. The only one that came is the only creator. The one who made the holy shit, he came. So then, who will come to rescue us? Who will come? No one from above, only the one from below. The Messiah is human. And the people which ate up the holy shit entirely will say, Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of tribulation, unto thee shall come the peoples from the ends of the earth. All those peoples that ate up the holy shit entirely, that they would have breakfast in the morning, holy shit, and lunch, holy shit, and dine, holy shit, and would pray saying holy shit. It was just shitty words. Only lies, only shit was the inheritance of our fathers. Vanity to which there is no avail. Holy shit. If it is man that makes himself gods, then they're not gods. That is why, behold, I shall make it be known unto you this time. I shall give you, I shall show you the strength of mine arm, and you shall know that my name is Yahweh. That Yahweh is not Yahweh the Creator. It is the new God of the earth, which is that human group that will show unto all the world that they ate up all their lives. They were eating holy shit. When I came here, that word holy shit shocked me a lot, because what do you imagine when you hear holy shit? You imagine God, whomever he might be, taking a poop. So then that poop, that is by the divine being. You say, what is this? This is poop from a cow. This is from a cat. This is holy shit. Because God really shit on us. It's holy. The holy poop of God. And the least thing you know is that the holy shit of God is this. What is precisely, what is other thing does God do that we can read, touch, and say, this is holy shit. This is the holy shit. There it is. What else do you want? There it is. It's as simple as that. Very simple. God really shit on us, and we have to look for the pearls in his dog shit. He says, you want to look for the pearls? Then submerge yourselves in the divine shit. This is the word of God, holy shit of God. You just learned a new definition. Okay? Now we enter into Wisdom and Discipline, part 50. I loved the picture that Leslie published in the invitation in this video, which was this beautiful woman, which we titled Lady Justice, Miss Justice. She's stepping on the serpent, which is Yahweh, steps on his head, and also with his holy shit there. So you've got the book, which is the Bible, the head of the serpent, crushed, stepping on it, and he says, I am the justice. I think it's spectacular. This image of the eternal truth, which is Lady Justice. Miss Justice. I find it to be perfect. Stepping the holy shit. It says, oh, I stepped on shit. What is shit? Holy. The Bible, and also the one who wrote it, who was the serpent. Here it is. Very well. But it's the only thing that we can read. We can't say, I don't want to read holy shit. I don't want to know anything from here. You'd be even worse, because the only pearls there are on this world is this. We have to look for the author. We have to look for the holy shit to know the author. Proverbs 2, 1 through 5. My son, if you accept my words, even holy shit, what I've just taught you, those are my words, not any others. Those are my words, not the Torah. It's what I'm telling to you now. My son, if you accept my words and you retain my commandments, paying attention to the wisdom and opening your mind to prudence, if you invoke intelligence and you call prudence, if you look for it like you do money and search for it like treasure, then shall you comprehend the fear of Yahweh, and you shall find the knowledge of God. Spectacular. I've got the questions of this week that you've sent me. It's 3. But last Shabbat, I told you that I was going to read a comment. I forgot to read it to you. And I was thinking whether to read it to you or not, but just small comments. Maybe you didn't even know this. But since this person wrote in the Eternal Church, I just want to make some small comments about it. Nothing else. The young man, Germán Alonso Cala, wrote 2 weeks ago, or a little less, in the Eternal Truth Official, of which he was a member. He wrote as follows. He says, I'd like to express my most sincere gratefulness for everything that I've learned with the people that I've learned in the moments that have marked my path during this. Today, with all honesty and respect, I recognize that my heart no longer belongs to this place and that I need to take another step aside. This decision is not out of rancor, but that the consciousness is that if I follow here, I'd still be another instrument of the controller Yahweh. I'd like to free myself completely from his control. I leave gratefully, very grateful, hoping that this decision is respected and comprehended. If someday God desires in his benevolence that I should return, I hope to do so. For now, I need to let go of this secure port and to continue to navigate my own way. Thank you for everything that I've received. I think that's great, Germán. You're free to go and go through all the seas that there are on this earth, or in your heart, of course. But I'd like to comment a little bit here. I don't think you're listening to me because he left. He's not listening to me, but either way, I'd like to highlight only a couple things. Apparently this boy, after 15 years of the Eternal, he was a Jehovah's Witness. We knew him back in 2009, along with his parents. That was during the time in which we used to talk a lot online, and people would connect with us. And I was with Gabriel and Edgardo Heyer, speaking for hours with people, trying to make them understand what we used to understand. And, well, one of them was this person, and they were Jehovah's Witnesses, and we got them out of there. Well, not really. They left from the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they started walking down this path of the eternal truth. And with the years, his parents left. He was left alone, and now with time, what I've just read, he also left. It's all fine. I don't have any problem for people to want to navigate their own paths. That's perfect, but sometimes people ask honesty and respect, and they say that they're grateful, and they ask for comprehension. That's all fine, but I'd like to highlight certain things. He says this decision is not born out of rancor, of course. How are you going to house rancor? What did we do? But out of the conscience that to continue here, I would be just an instrument of the controller Yahweh. The thing is that I can't comprehend how do they say that the only ones controlled are us. And so then if you leave from the eternal truth, you are no longer controlled. That Yahweh controls you here, and if you leave, he no longer controls you. Those are the things that really make noise. I didn't want to let it go. There's no chance that a person, wherever they are not controlled by Yahweh. Yahweh controls everything because he owns it all. He's the creator. Whether you're here or not, whether you never knew a religion, whether you're an African, a Chinese, or an Indian in America 3,000 years ago, he controlled everything, even the sacrifices they made. Even when they came from Spain and everything that happened, according to what the history says, he controls everything. Absolutely, there's nothing that is left to chance. There's nothing that can escape. It's, that slipped right there. No. We're all controlled. Like Pharaoh, like Moses, the prophets, everyone. Everyone is controlled. So then whether you're here or you leave, you'll be controlled. And if you leave, it is very possible that Yahweh is exercising a very strong will upon you for you to leave. It is very likely. So then, if you stay, He controls you staying. If you leave, Yahweh controls you leaving. Because I'm convinced that it's not anyone's decision of saying, by my own will I be a part of the Messiah. No, Yahweh says no. Here, those who are a part of the Messiah, it's because I've chosen them. So then, you may be here, I'll take you out whenever I want. Or maybe you're not here, and I'll place you here whenever I want, because I control everything. He's the writer that writes a book. It's like one of the protagonists turns on him, and the bad guy says, I don't want to be so bad. Author says, you're going to do whatever I tell you to do, and that's it. It's over. So then, that we're controlled, we're all controlled. That we think that we have a decision, it's pretty to feel like we have a decision. That we have it, no we don't. We don't have it. In certain margins that He gives us in order for us to decide, and when He sees that He needs to decide for us, He's going to decide for us. Or in the form in which we think, or all of a sudden I no longer believe, or all of a sudden I lost the faith, I don't even know why. Or all of a sudden I have such a faith that I move mountains. What does the Holy Shed say? It says, if anyone lacks faith, what happens? He says, work to get it. Is that what it says? What's it say? Ask whom? Ask God. If anyone lacks faith, ask God, because He will give you an abundance. Now, if faith, it says, faith is not even yours, it is a gift of God. Doesn't it, the scripture, Holy Shed, doesn't it say that? So then if faith is a gift of God, it means that it's not a gift that I have against God. When I have faith in God, who placed it there, according to the Bible. But I'm not making anything up here. We have a person with lots of faith here and a person without any faith. Can we blame the person that has lots of faith in comparison with the person that has a little faith? Or can we blame the person that has little faith of not having lots of faith? No. Because the Bible says that it's a gift of God. If you're a musician, can we say, what a useless guy, the guy that's not a musician? Let's give an example that he would like to sing and play and make music. I don't have the gift. So then I'm useless, I'm no good with, how do you say it? Condemn me to death for not knowing and not having the skill of playing music. No, I just don't have the skill. Also, many of you don't have the capacity to speak. I won't condemn you. Many of you don't have the capacity of writing, which you could make an effort a little bit to write a little better. You could learn, anyone could learn. It's just a bad example. But writing is completely your fault. Let's take God out of this. But the capacity to speak, it's something innate. To be pretty like me is something innate. Or like my wife, it's something that is, you're born with it. We can get better to a certain point. If you have green eyes, you have green eyes. If you have brown eyes like me, it's from birth. You can envy my eyes all you want, but it's mine eyes. I didn't do anything to obtain them, so then we cannot obtain those who don't have it, or those who do. Now, if someone loses their faith and leaves, don't have the least doubt that he's being manipulated by someone that gives the faith. The Bible tells you. All of a sudden you have such a faith, something that brings you to listen to this message and you love it. Don't think that it's you. There's something in your interior that makes you apt for that. The Bible tells you in many aspects. The Jews says that they were blinded, that they were deafened, and that they were stupefied. And when the disciples asked Yahweh in the form of Yephah, why do you do this? Because I don't want them to see. I don't want to hear or understand. Because I don't want to save them. It's more than clear. It's more than clear. If he would not have intervened, listen well to these words, because the Christians can't listen to this, they can't even comprehend it. If he had not intervened, divinely, with divine power, blinding and stupefying Israel. They would have declared him King, Messiah. Absolutely, wherever he would have been, they would have all followed. Don't believe for a second, not a second, that the Israelites of that time did not follow him and not accepted him because they were evil. That's a lie. An absolute lie. They would have accepted him instantly. He took charge from Isaiah chapter 6 that he gives the command to Isaiah of making them stupid. All of a sudden, Isaiah starts to fulfill the command. Let's read it. It's very interesting because what I'm telling you, and if there's new people, maybe you don't comprehend. You're used to people telling you God is love. He doesn't manipulate you. There's free will. Everyone has free will. You can choose the path of salvation or perdition. No, you can't. You can't. Isaiah, how difficult it is when we have to go and look for it, right? Isaiah chapter 6. Chapter 6 of Isaiah says, in the year in which the king Uzziah died, I saw the Lord Yahweh sitting upon a throne high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Those are serpents. Each one had 6 wings. With twine he covered his face, and with twine he covered his feet, and with twine he did fly. So then flying serpents. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, 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 Yahweh Sebaot, or Jehovah of hosts, the whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips, for mine eyes have seen the King, Jehovah of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. This goes against any religion in all the flavors of Christianity. Christianity teaches that only with the death of Jesus, with his blood, does he cleanse your sin. This, one of those serpents with a coal, and he tells him what? Your iniquity is taken away and thy sin is purged. That Jesus, Christian Jesus, had not died. There was no blood, there was no cross. It was just coal from a place, and he says, you're free of sin, because they have deceived you all of your existence. And I heard a voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And what, Lord Yahweh? Isaiah heard. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then said I, Who is that I, Isaiah? Here am I, send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. So he told them what? Tell this people to look, but not to see, to hear, but not to understand, and that, and not understand, comprehend, and harden up until there. Make the heart of this people fat. Was their heart fat? No, it wasn't. The command of the Creator is to stupefy the people. Fatten the heart of this people and make their ears heavy and shut their eyes. It is clear. I mean, it could be any more clear, right? It's impossible. Make them stupid, close their ears, blind their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and convert and be healed. For what chance did Israel have? Tell me, what chance did they have? None whatsoever. Zero chance. Zero chance. Even if they wanted to see, they couldn't see. Even if they wanted to listen, they couldn't. Even if they wanted to comprehend, they couldn't comprehend. So then, what manipulation are we talking about? Complete manipulation. Complete manipulation. so that there's no healing for them. So then right there, Isaiah, he thinks about this a little bit, and he says, I mean, what you're doing cannot be. So then he looks at him surprised and says, how? You can't do that. How long will you do that? And I said, how long, my Lord? He was in despair. He was like, how long, the Lord? And he answered, calm down until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And Yahweh have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaken in the midst of the land. But yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return, it shall be eaten, and as a tall tree, and as an oak, whose substance is in them when they cast their leaves, so the holy seed shall be substance thereof. What is Yahweh talking about? It's very clear. This is a marvelous prophecy. It says that people will never understand shit. Not a fuck all. They will say fuck all. Out of the Bible, they will not understand. It's telling to you quickly nothing. What there is that a Messiah will come. A Messiah with the Jewish roots. Because the truth is in the Bible. The truth is in the holy shit. The holy shit, there is where the truth is, in a whole enormous bunch, immeasurable with the words of the Bible of shit. So it's all there. How do you harden it? So then let me ask you, because maybe I've explained this to you already. If there's anyone new listening, he can't believe what he's hearing. How did Isaiah do this to fulfill this prophecy? How did Isaiah do to deceive, blind, make deafen, and stupefy the people of Israel? How did he do it? How did he do it? How? Answer me. How did he do it? How did he achieve it? How? By writing a book, exactly. The entire book of Isaiah, that's what it was for. But not just Isaiah, but of all the prophets. That's why the Bible is concealed. That's why here it's the clear example of how Yahweh did this prophecy, a reality with Isaiah. That book, that's prophetic, that's preferred of Israel, Isaiah. So then how does God deceive the people? By making them stupid and reading Isaiah. That's why we should not read Isaiah now. We have to read by saying that it's the holy shit. Separating the shit and finding the truth, that's the only way. If you don't separate the shit, then you do become part of the prophecy. Blind, stupid, and deaf. There's no turn of the page. There is no other path. Only the Messiah will break this, what do you call it? This witchcraft. It's a spell. Something witchy that falls upon all human beings. That's what Isaiah says, that he will discover the cover of that covers all the peoples. What's the lie? The whole Bible, this whole world is a lie. So then, if someone were to tell me, after having listened to me for years, look, I'm leaving the eternal truth because I want to free myself entirely from the yoke of Yahweh, that'd be ridiculous. In fact, I am practically seeing Yahweh telling you, come here, I'm going to take you somewhere else. You don't belong here. Immediately, it's my interpretation. And aside from the fact that he's telling you the eternal truth, you are the ones that are controlled by Yahweh. If I leave from here, Yahweh no longer controls me. No, it's backwards. We're all controlled. But you think that it's out of your own will leaving? I don't believe so. Or they leave because they think that they're already God. That would be another deceit, another lie that Yahweh places in their head. He says, I'm leaving here grateful. I don't think you're too grateful. You'll see, I'll tell you why. Asking that this determination be comprehended and respected. Yeah, comprehended completely. I completely comprehend it. It's not your decision. And respected also. But I have to tell you is, I'll tell you now, if someday God in his benevolence, he considers that I should return, well, what are you telling me? Wait, see, there, what you just wrote, you just deleted it with your elbow. If someday God, with His benevolence, He considers that I should return, I hope to do so. Isn't it that you're leaving out of your own will? How is it that God will bring you back? For now, in the way of thinking of this person, for now, I need to let go of this secure port. It wasn't so secure. For you, it wasn't so secure. Or it was secure of secure control, and to continue to navigate my own way. I think that's perfect. Go, leave, and navigate wherever you want. Thank you for everything received, but I'd like to show something, because here is when the wickedness of the people, or the injustice of the people, that with wicked is the same thing. Germán, before writing this, what you should have done is to at least pay me for the ring that you promised to pay, that I sent you. And you have pictures of the ring, thanking for, and you never even bothered to pay for it. So then it's very easy for a person to say, many thanks for everything. Now I live the secure place and everything you gave me, and I thank you for, because I was able to pass well you go through the pandemonium, and I'm not gonna pay you for shit, and I'm gonna fuck off. That's not even tithes or offerings. Those were something which the people promised. They ordered it. They promised to pay for it, at least, and without ever, even for me to tell anyone, when are you going to pay me for the ring? No, ever, never, ever has it come out of my pen. When are you going to pay for him? But now that they leave, so you okay, leave. But you didn't even care to pay for the ring. So then there's a lot more than to say, I'm out of here because I see the freedom. No, 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 no. There is wickedness that is there. It was really for a friend, like I consider you, and you consider me a friend. We can have differences, but you don't steal from a friend. You don't scam a friend. So then just for you to leave like that, cleansing your hands, that is what bothered me the most. Because if you would say, here's the money I owe you and I'm leaving, I wouldn't even mention you. But doing such a display, I'm the best in the world, the best I need. I'm very grateful to you. Tell you the truth, I feel you gave me a lot, even a ring that I didn't pay. But you gave me so much. I'm out of here, content and happy to navigate other paths or to scam other people. You can all fuck off, tell the truth. If you have that in your heart, you're not material to be a Messiah. It is clear. God, take them all out. Those who don't deserve this, those who don't deserve a position of power, take them all out. For them to all of a sudden feel, I lost the faith. I don't like this anymore. I no longer understand this. God controls me a lot, controlling me even more. Let's see if we start to take out what is no good. That's all I have to say. The rest, goodbye. You don't have to pay me for anything. Okay, I don't want any cent from you, Germán. If you're listening to me, you left by. I'll still greet you for your birthday. Because you signed, your name is there, I'll greet you. I have very good vibes. So then that's all I had to say. Question number 1. Hello, Christian, Leslie, Angelina, and Brian. A caring greeting for you, the 4 angels. Christian, I dare to ask you for some things, and I also thank you for your attention. It's been such an emotional path, if not to say crazy, to have known the eternal truth and all of you to be a part of this incredible tribe called to be the Messiah and the new God of the earth. It has been and shall still be an absolute and complete privilege, an honor that cannot be surpassed, a change of life and mentality, of paradigms and systems and beliefs that really blow my mind literally. The twists and turns have been strong and many that we have gone through in the last months and years about subjects that have to do with subjects such as marriage, genders, romantic genders, and all the rest. Completely drastic changes about the feast and everything, then now there's no need to list here. The question is about foods like pork or seafood. Do you still have the same idea? Do we still have the same restrictions, or have you also changed the way of seeing it? The Shabbat and knowing everything that it means and it represents for us, is it still an immovable about work? Although a change in work that would include to work some Saturdays would represent a raise. Is there any change or flexibility in these subjects, or are we still believing the same? I believe that some time ago you taught that the babies in gestation don't have or don't receive an immortal soul, even some months past as they're born. You also said, I can't remember exactly when you said it, that for such a reason the children that have been aborted will not make a part of a resurrection because they actually never existed. In other words, all those babies will never live or will be known by their parents. Is this still in your concept or interpretation, or do you have a different explanation right now? Once again, many thanks for your attention, your time in reading me and giving me your wise answer. A great big hug with all my true gratefulness. Let's start with the first question. About the foods like pork and seafood, amongst others, do you have the same idea? Do you still have the same restrictions? Or have you changed the way of seeing it? Well, this is something absolutely personal. Everyone does whatever they want. In my point of view, I like what the Creator gave us, which He gave us. This is clean, and this is not clean. I do it because I want to be faithful to a commandment? No. The law is annulled, and if the law is annulled, the laws of food are annulled. I want you to understand that clearly. I, on my behalf, it might be because of an emotional charge that my whole entire life I looked at pork with disdain, not the seafood so much, but pork. Let's say for pork, I looked at it just nauseously, and I developed a guilt if I were to eat something that was excluded from Leviticus. By Levitical chapter 11 being annulled, your information, what is formed within in your mind, your beliefs are still valid, because even if you tell a person the law that has ruled your entire life no longer exists, it is difficult for them to start to do things different to what they've done their whole entire life. If you do things that are directly contrary, that make you nauseous, then you have to do another previous work so that it doesn't make you nauseous. We're not talking about sin or not sin. We're talking about whether it can produce a DHS, that you understand what this is in Germanic medicine, that if you eat something with nauseous, it'll make you feel bad, because in your interior it is recorded that what you're doing is wrong. It's nauseous. God sees it as if it were nauseous, even if you've reasoned it. The law no longer exists. The impression will be left in you if you don't work on it, or forever if you don't work on changing that information. Everything takes work. So then, taking that out. Because, of course, if you've eaten pork your entire life and for a little bit you stopped eating because you entered into a religion where they don't eat pork, and then they said now you can eat pork, you can go back to what you've done your entire life. What's abnormal for you is eating pork for a little bit. You didn't eat, but it was never nauseous. Now, if you're born in an environment where pork was never eaten, and even if you tried it and then whatever, you've always accepted since you were a child that it was nauseous and filthy, so then that information is recorded well into you. Can you change it? Yes. That can be one of my problems, but that problem is not what affects me of saying I don't eat pork. I don't eat pork because I trust even in the Creator that it's not convenient for me to eat pork. It's not convenient. Pork doesn't make me more intelligent. Pork is not the best food. It's not. We know it's not the best meat. The other meats are better than pork. It has trichinosis with it, amongst other things. To see a pig eat, yeah, that's why it makes people and horrible people and dirty. They call them pigs. That's why a pig is a word, swine, that is despective. And you say, this guy's a swine. Why don't they call him a cow? They call him a cow because he's fat. If he's a bull, he has lots of sexual potency. If he's a pig, it's not so pretty. Not so pretty. For people to call you a pig because you're dirty. So then, there's something that the Creator said, it's not too convenient for you to eat pork. I didn't make him for you to eat. I made him for other people to eat. That pork is fundamental for the food in humanity, yes. Not fundamental, it's elemental for certain peoples. It's perfect. But it's not for me. It's not for me. So then, taking the nauseousness that it produces from it, since I was a child, I separated because I can change my mind. I have a very strong mind, and I can change it in certain things, or in whatever I want. But pork, I still sustain. That is not the food that's correct for us. So then, what do I teach? I don't eat. It's nauseous to me. And I teach, it'd be better that you don't eat it. Now, if you eat pork, I legally cannot tell you anything because there's no law. Legally, I can't tell you anything, but because there's no law. So then, let everyone do whatever they want. In my point of view, in the wisdom, it is to say, to draw that pearl from amongst all the shit that the trial has, to take it out, and to say, for me, this is a pearl. I eat different than the rest. When I'm referring to pork, I am also referring to seafood and everything that's prohibited. So then, for me, I understand that it's wisdom, not obedience. Not obedience, not obedience to a law. It is wisdom to know how to choose what we eat. And for me, the food, the clean ones, are superior to the non-clean foods. Okay, so then about the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made for us. We break the Sabbath in every laws, every articles that the Torah says. The Torah says that the Sabbath you can't even turn fire on. We don't just turn fire on. We cook, we turn on the computer, we drive, we work, like we do all types of work on the Sabbath. So then, what restriction would the Sabbath be? If you were to tell me, no, because I have to work certain Sabbaths, you can work freely. It'd be good that you take the day off as most as possible for it to be a day of celebration for you. And you'll be very much blessed. But not because of a law, because the Sabbath represents the Shabbat, it represents the seventh millennium. The seventh millennium will be a day of lots of work. Those who go and rest, and the one that's working now, that guy goes to work. We begin our work there. So then the Sabbath is a day of lots of work about a new government. So then precisely this day, we dedicate it to get together amongst ourselves to speak about the new government that is forming on earth. The new government is forming today on the earth. So then, if we have a meeting today, like the futures that will rule, I tell you directly, it is a privilege to get together. In the plan that we're going to do, it is a government meeting, what we're doing. Even if you can't see it entirely. It is a government meeting. We're not fulfilling a commandment or because we're practicing a religion. I'm telling you, we're going to worship God or whatever. No. This is a government meeting. We always talk about the plans that we're going to have, and also all of the clues that God gave us in the Bible, which is concealed. So then, It is a privilege for all those that can see it live and then review it, because it is the meeting, it's a previous meeting of what will be the government. Under no point of view that's logical or possible will you be a part of the government people that were not gathered together in these previous meetings. These previous meetings of every Shabbat, even if it's stupid, it is a government meeting, and we're getting together and being prepared. You don't come here under any aspect to worship anyone. Just like that. We're not worshiping anyone here. In any case, we worship ourselves. What does it mean to worship? It is absolute respect. We, today, are not worshiping God, or any Shabbat, for that matter. What we do is we get together amongst ourselves, because it is a previous practice and a true training for what our government will be. It is those meetings that were formed forging in the dark of this world, so that when they come out to the light, no one will come out to the light that has not been getting together in these meetings. No one will be a Messiah that says, Messiah from India. I was from Israel. I was born 500 years ago. I died. God placed me as a part of you. No way. That happens, and I said, then all of you fuck off. Because to tell you the truth, we worked for nothing. We shouldn't just not done anything and just get us from any time, from any epoch, any beliefs, and you train us at some point in time, and we'll see if we do something together, which will not be achieved, and it isn't so, and it won't be so. Only it could be achieved, a united group, a group that understands, I'm not saying everything, but that understands everything that they understand it equally. So then here, it's a lot more than just faith. Here, we don't have faith in God. We have to develop faith in ourselves, in the eternal truth. If you tell me I have faith in God, I'll tell you, well, you're the next Germán Alonso Cala that leaves. Because we don't have faith in God here. We're not faith in God. I'm sick and tired of the faith in God. People have exercised faith for thousands of years and they've all died, and God won't do anything for them. It is written, God won't do anything for them. They'll have to exercise faith in the Messiah. Because the Messiah, because he's so good, he'll resurrect them and teach them so that they have faith in him, because they're not even going to resurrect because they have faith in the Messiah. They didn't even know him. They didn't even know him, and what they did know, it was not the Messiah. So the Messiah, out of his own justice, will resurrect them, and knowing that even if they see him, it'll cost them one testicle and half the other to convince them that he's the Messiah. That no, he'll resurrect them, and that no, he will end up convincing them, training them, and they'll love him. But that is the exclusive work of the Messiah, out of love for the Messiah and out of love of the Messiah to humanity. It's got nothing to do with God. We're not going to resurrect or save anyone because we love God. All the contrary. Our love to God says, let's see when you leave. Let's see when you leave and give us what's ours. Our love, our faith is in ourselves. So then, God cannot, under any aspect, to bring people from other epochs or people that never knew us, that say, oh, we want to work for you because were you in the gatherings? No, I was. So then, what love did you develop? How much do you know about us? What is it? I have to explain everything for you to be the Messiah? Now it's the moment, now it's the time in which the Messiah was being formed, even though no one is left, and there's only 4 people, let's suppose. Those 4 people have to have gotten together and have understood everything. If it's 10, it's 10. If it's 100, it's 100. If it's 144, it's 144. But those 144 that are left are the people that have a spirit, and they understand what they will do. They develop faith in that group, because if you have faith in God, you don't belong here. It's simple as that. I tell it to you very clearly. Maybe I'll help you to leave. I don't want you to leave, but if those that are going to leave have to leave. If you have faith in God, then you don't have faith in us. I have all my faith, 100% of my faith, in a group called the Eternal Truth. And my faith begins with myself and those who are with me. They're an extension of the group we're one. That is my faith. I could never again say one day I have faith in God. I don't have any faith in God. He demonstrated to be a liar, a despot, an assassin, a deceiver. Up until today, the nations live deceived by him, not for me. It's because no one else but because of him, because the one that deceives, the one that keeps everyone blind is him. So then how am I going to have faith in him? I have certain faith that he will fulfill his word. Even though he's the father of lies, even though he's the father of deceit, even though he's the father of wickedness and crime. I believe that he will fulfill his word. If he doesn't, he can fuck off on my behalf wherever he came from. And that's it's over. But we're not going to be pleading him. Let's say if you fulfill your word, do whatever you want. It's your creation. He wants to destroy us all. He wants to make the Jews to rule, then let him do it. He's already done so. That's how this world is right now. So then, my faith is not based in God. I want you to understand that it's in the eternal truth. 100% of my faith is in the eternal truth. Period. If your faith is not in the eternal truth, then you don't belong here. We have faith in ourselves. In ourselves. No one else. So then, what we're talking about? Oh yeah, about the Shabbat. The Sabbath. It is the more spectacular day because we get together. So then, can you work? Yeah, you can work. But be in the reunion with us. That's the least you can do. Very well. I remember, I've asked that. I've answered that. I remember that some time ago you taught that the baby's same position. For me, a baby does not have a soul. He could have sensations. He could have, the baby can move. He can still have memories in him. Because we record memories, they hear anything you want. Also, a computer can listen, but the soul of the baby, until God does not demonstrate the contrary, I sustain that it is when it is born or after it starts to acquire conscience. Because the baby does not have conscience. I can have a being that is recording, that has, like any animal, that has reactions to yelling, to sound, to love, to music, that can move, that can cry, but to be without a soul, that I sustain it. I could be wrong, but it is my way of thinking. After checking and analyzing all the possibilities, I've gotten to that conclusion. Like Solomon, the wise man, says, I got to the conclusion that until you don't have conscience that one exists, actually the soul is not developed. The baby of 6 months old does not have conscience that they exist. The baby, if they die in 2 or 3 days because he can't do anything for himself, it is a being that's the most vulnerable that exists. When it's born, you have to sustain its head because it's not able to keep its head up even on its own. You grab the baby like this and you can't sustain it. It falls off. It falls back. They can't feed each other. They can't do anything. So then you tell me that is a soul? No, it's not a soul. A soul is when the soul notices that they can think of for itself. That they start to see a notion of existence. It could be that the soul of the babies enters when they're born, or sometime later. I don't know that. We have to see that. But I sustain that all the aborted babies have never had a soul. I sustain it, just like that. Because what can I say? Resurrect an aborted baby. Let's suppose that a mother comes and says, I aborted a baby at 3 months old, 4 months old. 4 months. And it's a little baby like this. So then what do? We resurrect him? No, we can't resurrect him. We have to create him in someone's belly for it to be developed and to say you were never born. So you're not resurrecting me. What are you doing? I am finishing your development. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. If it should have been born, it would have been born on this earth. It should have had conscience. That's exactly that way. So then if you understand it in the way I'm explaining it to you, God does not place a soul with a number pre-created from the sixth day of creation to no one that is not ready to have it. So then all the babies that have been aborted, all the babies that have died, maybe 2, 3, 4 months, never existed. Just like that, never existed. I cannot even make the baby understand that someday they were born on earth and they died. For him, he never existed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Never existed. Now, if a baby is 2 years old and already he sees his mom recognizes her and he starts to speak, then right there we're talking about a person that if they died there and you resurrect them, they have memories, recognizes his mom. We're talking about something there. I'm not even sure until what age that soul comes. I don't know. Tell the truth, I don't know. But what I do conclude is that those that have been aborted never existed. Inasmuch as the sperms that we have are the eggs that the women have that leave. It's like saying women, they ovulate every month. And that blood that died, it died. It's resurrected because this egg would have had a sperm, and we throw millions of sperm away. We're going to explain every sperm. Oh, you could have been alive. The sperm was alive. He was moving and everything. The egg was alive. We're going to be saying, you have to live amongst all the millions. You deserve to live. Makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. The only sense is a person, a real one with conscience. That is the way I see it. And that's the way I teach it. Maybe you see it different. I care less, but that's the way I see it. It makes no sense that Messiah comes and starts to resurrect aborted babies. What are aborted babies? Nothing. Nothing. Zero. Zero. So then if you abort it, as a message that I give you, if you abort it, it's as if you had prevented in the sexual relations with a condom. It's the same thing. The the egg and the sperm got together and then you took it out before the time. It's the same thing. They were born alive. They were both alive. You know what the Catholic Church teaches? Catholic Church teaches that it is a sin by having sex to prevent it. It's the same thing as an abortion. Of course, same thing. The same thing. I'll explain to you differently. It's the same thing. If I prevent that my sperms that are alive and the living eggs get together, then I am pre-abortionist. Then, of course, then what difference is between a pre-abortionist and a post-abortionist? No difference, none. They all leave and they never existed. They're all out of here. Never existed. Maybe it hurts you what I'm saying to some of you. I could give a fuck if it hurts you. I'll tell you. The truth hurts. Sometimes the mother they fall in love with their children that were never born. They have a strange idea saying, this is my son. And they suffer because the son, nothing died, baby. Nothing died. So then cry every time that you bleed also because you lost an egg. You lost one of the ones that you had. You have to mourn. For every egg that leaves, it hurts. And we millions every time that we lose. We have to have millions of crosses because if you lost millions of... Because don't say stupid shit. That does not exist. The life is the life of a conscious human being. If we want to take it to those extremes, we start to have problems of all types. Okay. I've already answered this question, answered the babies. Okay, same thing. I've answered it all. 2. Shalom, Christian. Many thanks. I hope that you are okay and that you are away from all that contribute with the beast. Oh, that's kind of weird. It's difficult to comprehend this. Kind of in a parable. Christian, it's just a question, just a random question. Right now, as a dialogue, do you think, like in some previous teaching, that we should bear arms because of the situations that we face now? This question is, should we bear arms with whatever because of the situation now? My answer is no. It is for any situation, not because of now. You should already have borne arms. It's not. Oh, it looks nasty now. I should do it now. Just arms are. These are arms. Just so you know, these are arms. My right arm, my left arm. To arm ourselves when? First of all, your number one arm is the brain. Second of all, as soon as you can, you should arm yourself with whatever. Since you're a child, either with a bat or something, with whatever thing that has to be of personal defense. You have to defend yourself since you're a child. I had to defend myself since I was a child. It's not that I had to get to now and it's like, should I have anything to arm myself? No. The answer is no. You should have already had it. So there's no need for the situations of now to arm ourselves. I am an absolute positive that every person should bear arms. And when I say bear arms, I'm talking about firearms if you cannot have at home, or you don't have money, or because the laws don't allow you, that's fine. But in my point of view, the only way of living in this world is to live knowing that you can exercise your defense against those that attack you, against those that come and attack you, so that you can exercise our defense. Not that you hurt people just because you want to. So that will demonstrate that you're an absolutely stable person, that even if you have power to hurt someone, you would never utilize it. A person tells me I don't have weapons because I cannot control myself, then that person, for me, in my point of view, that person should not even be my friend. Not even my friend. I prefer all the people that says I have lots of control, absolute control in my actions, and I could inflict hurt. It gives me more certainty. Or the people, no, I get too upset. Oh, then you're no good then to have power. You're no good to have power. Like, I'm not sure if Lincoln or whomever, if you want to test a man, how do you test him? Giving him power. Giving him power. So then, if with the power you do bad things, then actually you do not have the capacity of exercising it. It's very clear, absolutely clear. So then, do I believe in firearms? Absolutely. Everyone should have them. Not 1, 2, 3, most that you can have. Why? Because you can. Because you can. Or because you can. To learn to use them, to respect them, the laws, that to lose complete the fear once you know how to use them. Not just because you have it, you hide them, and you bring it out and you don't know how to use it. You have to train yourself. I want you to understand that. You have to train yourself to be an expert in knowing when to use it, how to use them, how to keep them, when, and at what moment you can use them. You have to understand that clearly. So then, the question is, should we weaponize ourselves with whatever because of the situations of now? No. It should be always in the moment, in the most peace. There, you should weaponize yourself. There, you should weaponize, not in the moments of where there's no peace. Farewell. 3. Hello, Christian. Many thanks for the study of the Shabbat. I liked it a lot. I have a doubt about what the meaning of that wisdom is the fear of evil. Is it that the fear gets to you, or is the fear to the consequences of doing evil? Many thanks for your time and every answer you give. It is a very good question. I left this for the end because it's a very good question. I'll read it again. It says, "Hello, Christian. Many thanks for the study of the Shabbat. I liked it a lot. I have a doubt about what the meaning is that the wisdom is the fear of evil. First of all, wisdom is not the fear of evil. It is the principle of wisdom is the fear of evil. Not with the wisdom. The wisdom is a lot greater than that. But the principle itself of wisdom is the fear of evil. So then, wisdom is not the fear of evil, but rather the principle of the fear of evil. And the principle does not just mean the beginning. It could mean the beginning, which is fine. I agree with that. But it's not just the beginning. It is, per se, one of the columns, the base, a pillar, that if in the moment in which you acquire wisdom, which initiates with this, with the fear of evil, it is a base that if it is moved, then all of the wisdom that you built, as if it were a building, and you move the, we could call it the foundation, we could call it a support column. If you take it out, then all of the wisdom that you built, it falls off, all of it. That's why it is more than the beginning, because we could say that it's the beginning. Once I start it, doesn't mean if I take it out or whatever. No. It is the beginning of the construction. So then it's all based on this. All of the entire wisdom depends on this, because it's the beginning. The beginning, I can call it the base. I take the base of it, and any wisdom that I have would fall off. So then the fundamental beginning, or the first part of the construction of wisdom, is the fear of Yahweh, as the scripture says. Holy shit. It is the fear of Yahweh. Now, I've explained to you that the fear of Yahweh is the fear of evil. That expression, the fear of Yahweh, it's the fear of evil. Now, the second part. We already know that the beginning is the fundamental part, and that it sustains. All of the wisdom is sustained permanently on this. In the moment in which you lose that, it is so fundamental that all of your wisdom will depend always in the fear of evil. Everything that you build, if you take it out or it is broken, everything that you built will fuck off to hell. Just like as simple as that. Everything goes to the ground. It was no good because you took out what sustains, keeps everything in order. That's what's so fundamental. So then, what was the question here? It says, what is the meaning of what? Of the fear of evil. What is it? I'll ask you before answering. He says, is it? I ask you. You ask yourselves this question. Ask yourselves this question. What did I understand last Shabbat of what the fear of evil is? What did I understand? Think. I'll leave you some time to think. No, I'll leave you more time. What did I understand? Think about it. Ask yourselves, every one of you, what did I understand? What is the fear of evil? Because it's very pretty to say, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of evil or towards evil. Either way. The fear of evil or towards evil. What is it? What is that? What is that? If you say to hate evil, I'll say, no, it's not that. It's not that. It takes you to that, but it's not that. It takes you to that. It is a consequence thereof, but it's not that. He asks me, because he has the doubt. That's why I love this question, because maybe the answer had it clearly understood when I gave the subject, but I was not. I checked the way I gave the subject and I stopped to think about it, and I said, I did not define it so that they comprehend exactly, because it's a fundamental point, this question, mind you. It's a point that was made, this question, because I had to clarify to you, because I understood it clearly, but I noticed that it had not been understood clearly what the fear of evil is. Did you love? It may be, I don't know, that the fear of Yahweh is the fear of evil. But what does it mean exactly? And I'll tell you now, like I said in original, what is the fear of Yahweh? What is it? What is that? You have to define it. Today I'll define it. Have you defined it in your mind already what it is? To draw away from evil, to hate evil, to not do evil, to draw away from evil, to understand what evil is. Daniel Bautista. I don't read it here. To abhor and to draw away from evil. All that is wrong. If you understood that, then it's all wrong. I've not read a correct answer yet. I have not read a correct answer. All the ones you wrote. To abhor, to draw away from evil, no. The importance of not being able to do evil, no. To draw away from Yahweh, no. No, none of that. No, no one answered anything I see. No one answered what was in my mind. What was in my mind? And I thought that you had understood it by osmosis, but it was not understood by osmosis. I had to read this question to understand it. Christian Perez, the knowledge of Yahweh. No, none of that. It takes me to the knowledge of, no, none of that. He wrote here on the answer, what is the fear of evil? Is it fear that the evil gets to you? It's no good, and I've already told you that already. So it no longer matters. You've had time to write that. If they say, oh, he didn't say that, I'm going to try to write to sound brilliant. No, nothing. No one answered what it actually is. No one answered what it actually is. Then she said, what else do I teach? I'm always for hours teaching. No one understands a thing. Yeah, they understand. No, yeah. I understand. I get it. But they don't understand the word that I'm looking for. That's wrong. That takes you to that. It takes you to know Yahweh. It takes you to that. Is it the fear that the evil gets to you? No. Is it the fear to the consequence of it? Of course. What is the fear? What is the fear of evil? The phrase could clearly say, I fear of doing things that are wrong, and I don't want to pay for the consequences. I tell the truth, I would steal, but since I know that they can grab me and I'll end up in jail, like this and that, I'm not going to steal. Now, if someone were to assure me, then for example, if someone were to assure me that they're not going to grab me, but I'm thinking about why don't I steal? Because I'm afraid. Fear towards evil, the evil that it'll bring me. To steal, do you understand what I'm saying? To kill, also to lie or to deceive. So the fear of doing something wrong, so as to not to pay the consequences. Could that phrase say that? It could clearly say that. It's an enigma. It's an enigma that will reveal. And it doesn't mean that. The other one is, I'm afraid of evil. In other words, what does it mean, fear towards evil? I'm always afraid that they'll steal from me, that they'll kill me, that they'll rob me. So then I'm always checking. I bought weapons to defend myself. I fear evil. It's applied there. I'm afraid that evil gets to my life. So then I don't get with those people because I know that could bring evil to my life. Those are bad people. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't get together with them. I don't go to that neighborhood because it's dangerous. I'm afraid of that neighborhood. They could rob me. It's no good. It's no good anymore. Nothing is good anymore because I already said what it's not. And so now they're inventing. No. They're not going to get it right. They're not going to get it right. And I'll tell you, you don't have the least idea. Because of what you wrote there, you haven't the least idea of what the fear of evil is. And now I'm going to tell you. So then it's not fear that because of doing evil you pay for the consequences, or the fear that they do evil to me. It's also not to hate evil. No. Pay attention. Where were we? Okay. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of becoming evil. Becoming. How do you say evil in English? Evil. Becoming evil. It's not. It's not fear of paying the consequences. It's not fear that they do evil to me, but rather I becoming evil. To become a bad person. Because we start to become evil. So then it's nothing of what you wrote. The beginning of wisdom is being wise, is deciding, I don't want to be evil. I don't want to be evil. I will not lie because I don't want to be a liar. I will not steal because I don't want to be a thief. I'm not going to become a thief. I'm not going to become a deceiver. I'm not going to become a fornicator. I'm not going to become an assassin. No, all those things are characteristics of Yahweh. An assassin, a thief, a liar, and all the wickedness that you will. I do not want to become in Yahweh. For that very reason, the Eloheinu of justice is not Yahweh, all-powerful, the Creator, that does good and evil, that is the God of wickedness and the God of life, let's say, because he's not the God of justice, the God of life. No, I don't want to become that. So then, it's like Star Wars. Star Wars, what did he say? The guy, careful with the dark force, because if the dark force pulls you, you become a dark force. And there's no exit from there. There's no exit. So then, if we look towards evil and we start to practice evil, then I go way past over here. A sinner. No. You become evil. Just like all of the government, just like all of the religious system is pure evil. Pure evil. If I become that, I become evil. Wickedness. So then me as an individual, if I want to develop real wisdom, biblical wisdom, the wisdom of the Messiah, because we're talking about wisdom for the Messiah, I don't speak to anyone in this instance. In other instances, I'll speak for the rest, but not for them to be a part of the Messiah, but for the Messiah to begin a redemption, but not to invite anyone to be a part of this group. That time is up. But now I speak only for people that can't be a part of the Messiah. So then, the Messiah looks towards evil and fears becoming evil. And by fearing becoming evil and becoming something that he is not or does not want to be, then he starts to hate evil. It's automatic. And he starts to hate evil. So then everything that you answered is wrong. The fear of evil is fear of becoming evil. That is the only answer. There's no other. All the other ones are incorrect. Fear of evil, hate of evil. No, it's not hate of evil. It is the fear of evil. Because evil is so seductive and so necessary to live in this world, evil is, that I go into evil, but when I go in there, I become evil. So then, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of becoming evil. That is the only correct answer there is. All the rest are semi-correct, because to hate evil is fine, but it's a consequence thereof. It is a consequence. Sometimes I start to fear becoming something that I don't want to be, but I still don't hate it. In fact, if I were to hate it, I would not fear to become that. So then, once I fear becoming something that I don't want to be, and I start to draw away out of the fear of becoming that, with time, it develops hate towards that because it's something that I don't want to be. For example, to be the pastor of a church, like I've seen. So some guy comes along and he says, I'm going to study theology because I want to convert and become an Adventist church pastor, so that when I'm in the Adventist church, I can speak to him little by little to take him out of there from deceit. Let's give a stupid example, but it's a very stupid example. It's more serious. So then the guy analyzes, I'm gonna subjugate myself to study Christian theology. I'm gonna subjugate myself to memorize how the salvation is, what the faith is, what the grace is, all of the instances, the whole Bible in the way that they see it, just to obtain a title. So then later I can try to do an internal work. The least thing you know is that you're becoming evil because you've already identified that that's evil. All of the theory in Christian theology is evil. When I go in and study that, because I want to have a title of theirs, I'm already exercising evil. And when I least expect it, I'm already evil. The same thing as could be any other profession, as many other things. Because I become evil, just like the series of Breaking Bad. The guy was good. He had cancer. He didn't have money to pay for his treatment. What he had to do? He started to make drugs. He became evil. The title says Breaking Bad. So then, wisdom begins when we become conscious of what we don't want to be. This is very, very psychological. Wisdom begins and it's sustained, not just begins, but it's sustained under this idea of not becoming evil. Because I could have very good ideals, but this block that sustains it all, where all of my wisdom will be pressurizing against, it is fear towards evil. It happens to all of the leaders that have leadered nations in a way like a despot, or have been these unique ministers, like were a whole bunch of people in this world, starting with Castro, following with, I don't know, Stalin, Lenin, Hitler, whomever of those, they have ideals of justice. And maybe the initiation of theirs is to do justice because they want it for the people. Let's suppose, in the best of the cases, they wanted to fight for the people. But when they get to power, they don't have the base, the initial base, to sustain themselves, which is fear towards evil. So then all of their wisdom, their virtues, their dreams, their projects fall apart and they become dictators, absolutely nefarious, malignant. Why? Because they remove the fear towards evil. If they had present, that always present, of being fearful of becoming evil, then they would have been good. But effectively, they were evil because they didn't have the fundamental principle of wisdom, which is fear of becoming evil. That's why they say that power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. As long as you don't have this pillar, which is called fear of becoming evil. Because as long as a person always has fear of, careful, I'm not going to become evil, even though I receive power. But if he exercises it, since he's a child, until he gets to power, he will have respect, always, of never becoming evil. That's the way it is. But it happens to all these human beings that don't have the principle of wisdom. That's why they become absolute despots. You have the secret of what it is already. There are people that with a little bit of power, you see how they act wrong. They act wrong because they don't have the principle of wisdom. That the more power you have, the more you have to be rooted to this principle. Because like I've told you, it's not that it's the initiation, it is what sustains. It is what sustains. That is why the seventh spirit that the Messiah receives is the spirit. When I say that he receives it, is that they start to develop it. They have to start to develop it now. It's not something that you'll receive because God wants you to receive it. No. We have to develop it now. It is spirit. We have to develop it now. It is a decision, moral decision, and logical decision in our part. But say the word, it's a decision of yours that is your own, of saying, I will not become evil. I will not become Yahweh. That is the secret, the maximum secret. When you read now, the principle of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh. There you understand, I have, and will always have the fear and the care, being careful of never becoming Yahweh. The day in which we become Yahweh, the Creator, the world once again becomes what it is now, the chaos that it is now, when we want to print and obligate laws, religious laws, laws that they wanted, because that's how things are, then the world ends up in what it is now. You cannot avoid it. So then the beginning of life is never to become evil, never to become Yahweh. From here on out, you understand this principle. It is the principle of becoming evil or wickedness. Very well. Next time I ask you, I hope that you answer correctly. It's not fear towards the evil, fear of stealing, or the consequences thereof. No, it is of fear of being a thief, the fear of being an assassin, because it is something that goes against my nature. One thing is the fear of stealing, because I don't want to go to jail, and another is fear of being a thief. It is, and I have so much fear of being a thief, because I don't want to be a thief, that I start to hate being a thief. So then I'll never become a thief. As long as I have that principle active, even no matter how much power they give me, I will not steal from the people. I have the active principle of not deceiving anyone. In the measure that they give me more power, that principle is a golden rule in my life of not deceiving ever, no matter if you hate someone, or it makes you leave, or no matter if it makes you cry. I'm not going to deceive you. I'm going to tell you things without deceiving you. That principle, you have to develop it. Because sometimes you, as long as no one finds out, or someone's not offended or not causing problems, you deceive. And that principle is a golden rule. If the people that deceive were to receive power, they would be great deceivers, equal to what we have now. Because if you deceive a friend or a stranger, you deceive them. If it's to sell them something, or to get information from them, or to look good, to achieve something which you want to achieve, or to hide something, and you deceive them, nothing will stop you that if you're God on earth, you'll deceive a whole bunch of idiots, that you'll look at them like idiots. You'll become Yahweh, which is the great deceiver, and his minions, which are the rulers, great deceivers, like Isaiah, a great deceiver, Isaiah. He had to deceive. He had to stupefy. He had to close people's eyes and close their ears. A great deceiver for no one to understand anything. So as to not say, okay, Isaiah says, okay, I'll do it. A great deceiver. If there's anything of a deception in your person, start to apply the law of fear. If you don't have that law written, dictated by yourself, then you won't be able to be what you desire to be. Because you were able to be what you desire to be with great power. All of your defects that I'm speaking of would multiply. It is what happens to all of the dictators that have lived on earth. They have become assassins that before they weren't that. They weren't that. that they have principles since I want to liberate the people, I want to do this. But when they knew that they have an absolute power, they said, look, I can do this and no one can do it because I'm power. Yeah, I have to kill the family, torture, disappear them, entire populations, because they're already above, they have gone past the point that couldn't even imagine to obtain of power and control. Since there's no one to control them above, what flourishes are their defects. That's why it's so important, this law of wisdom, so important. The principle where all of wisdom is sustained. I'll tell it to you like this. The principle and the base in which all wisdom is sustained is the fear of becoming evil. As long as you have fear of becoming evil, then you will be able to be saved and acquire wisdom. The moment that you lose that and you become evil, all of your wisdom was fucked off to shit. It is no good. Not even your primary intent is nothing. Your credibility, your efforts, it all fucked off to shit. That's the way it is. So then it's so important that the principle of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh. Proverbs 2, verses 1 and on. Okay, where was I? Okay. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments, you already know that the word hide is to treasure within thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom, inclining thine heart unto prudence. Yeah, if thou criest after intelligence and liftest up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for a hid treasure, then shalt thou understand the fear of Yahweh. All of these conditions in order to achieve the fear of becoming evil. But read all these conditionals. If you do this, if you do that, if you treasure my words, if you look and you invoke the intelligence, if you call unto wisdom, you incline your heart, all these characteristics, all of them, point to something. The very beginning of wisdom, which is the fear of becoming evil. So then, it costs a lot of work to start to create a fear, which is something that will say like about it, it's something real, a fear, a barrier, because when somebody has fear of something, they start to be a wall, a barrier, which we should never trespass, because if we trespass it, we become evil. So then we start to separate us from evil. How's it? It's not just as simple as of saying, oh yeah, from here on out, I have fear towards evil. You make me laugh. No, it isn't so. It is an entire decision, practice, and to check everything that I've just said here. Okay, I'll read it to you again. If you will receive my words and my commandments, ye hide within thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom. And this is what it requires in order to get to say, now I have fear. And I start to form a fear, a barrier. And thine ear unto wisdom, and thine heart unto understanding. If thou criest after intelligence and prudence, liftest up thy voice, and if like silver you would seek for it, then from here on I have fear of evil. No. I think none of you have developed a true fear of evil. It's the moment of starting to develop it. Because If they don't teach it to you that way, you don't know how to build the barrier. It's all fine. If today I have to lie, I'll lie. If I have to deceive, I'll deceive. If today I have to steal, I'll steal. I'll steal. If today I decided not to help those who I have to help, I won't help. If today or this month I say not to give tithes, that's fine. I don't give tithes. If you had built a fear of evil, never would you have ever been able to get behind that one day in tithes. You wouldn't be able to, because you had built a brutal barrier. Says, I don't want to become a thief. I don't become a thief. I don't want to become a thief. And since they didn't have that wall, they went from one side to the other and said, I don't give it this month, not that month, and not that month. And when you least expect it, I'm a tremendous thief. But not in tithes, but in everything that life is. Like this guy that left, I'm out of here, thank you for anything. The ring, may God pay for it, you thief. You said in a loan you didn't pay for it, you're a thief. But because there's no fear of evil, there's no fear of Yahweh. That's why it's so important for you to understand what I'm teaching, because or else it's no good to advance in Proverbs. If you understand what the principle itself of wisdom is, if you had developed it, never would you have gone behind in anything or deceived in anything. You wouldn't deceive because you would fear to deceive, not the consequences. You would fear and that you know that you're deceivers, that in the end of it all, when you turn around or in anything, you lie to me. Or when you lie to me, I know what people I deal with. And with the people that I deal with, I look at them, they're liars and deceivers. And if they earn that title, what are they going to do to change it? To stop lying, or else they'll never be any type of God. Because the day that they become God, what they're going to do, they're going to be the great deceiving gods. So then, if you want to become actually something that is valuable, that can be good in this world, start to fear evil. Not of the law. I'm not talking about any fucking law of Moses, of holy shit, or anything of the sort. I'm talking about principles of life. Principles of life that you don't have highlighted yet, and you cross them because there's no barriers built. That's why you cross them. I'm not talking about laws here. No, I'm not talking about that. Start to make principles of not hurting your neighbor, never deceiving, never stealing, never lying, and hurting the person, never killing. I'm not talking about assassins or murder. There could be some, I don't know, but that's easier, let's say. But the most difficult ones is to be a person that is trustable. Trustable! If you listen to me, and those who listen to me, which are the few that listen to me, if you're listening to me, then after all the things that I say, it's because you really believe that I'm trustworthy. If I weren't trustworthy, in the moment that I lose the credibility in some of you towards me, you leave. You leave. Why are you going to be listening to some guy that is not credible? That is not credible. When I'm referring to credible, it is to recognize that he never deceived you. I could have spoken to you about two people, about the Father and the Son, but that's because that's what I believed in the beginning. It's what I believe. So then there's honesty, absolute honesty in my behalf. In fact, it is based, this ministry and my preaching, in my honesty. If today I tell you that I believe in what I believe, I tell you that I believe in what I believe. If tomorrow I change it, I'll tell you. Recognize what I said before, that I used to think like this before, and now I think like this. But I never deceived you. I never deceived you. And I could give a fuck if it bothered you, my way of speaking. But the only one that a person has is its credibility. If you lose that, let's see how you recuperate it. So then, the fear of Yahweh goes way past a simple definition of fear of becoming evil. No. Start to tremble. Check your life. Check the deceives that you do daily. Check the scams you do daily. Check how your life is. Are you on the side of evil? Come back and start to build a barrier. That wall is called fear. And you don't have to ever cross it. If you cross it, then you're no good to be directors. Because if you cross that now, knowing from here on out, then how is someone going to give you power? We're in the parable that Yahweh gave being a Messiah. To some he gave this much, to others he gave this much. And to the one that took care of what he gave him and multiplied, he gave him a lot more. If you do not develop the fear of Yahweh, then you cannot be a Messiah. I tell it to you right now. It is a task. Because or else you're going to be for years, no matter how many fucking years are left, doesn't matter. You'll always be the same people, always. If I have to lie to you, I'll lie to you. If I have to give you tithes, I'll give it to you. There are months that I don't give it to you. It's not enough. Then I'll repent. Then I'll start to give it to you again. Then I don't give it to you again because I don't feel it. I don't feel it. Right? Of course, because you don't feel it. You don't feel it, it's because you're already on the other side. Because you never built a barrier of saying, I have fear of becoming a thief, a scammer, a deceiver. I have fear. Fear. You have to develop the fear to initiate the path of wisdom in every aspect at work, being the best worker always, without stealing a minute from the boss, by giving more, giving more. Look, about the subject, at least in Proverbs, I was reading in the Talmud, and there's a story. I like the one because we think about, oh, there's justice that I steal from the employer because I give more of my time, sometimes I have to lie to him, and I gave before, whatever. That is to cross the barrier. There were two rabbis. This is in the Talmud. I liked it. There were two rabbis. One rabbi comes and tells him, look, well, one rabbi, it cost him a year to make 1 barrel of wine. So then he moved, and the rabbi says he hired 4 employees, and he told them, can you please take this barrel of wine to my new property? So then the guys took the barrel of wine, and it fell, and it broke, and spilled all over. So then the rabbi came and says, what did you do? No, because a whole year of work is on the floor. He went and took, on top of not paying for them, they took their cloaks, so valuable, took their cloaks away from the workers. He took it out and says, these cloaks, I'm going to take them and sell them and get something back. So then the rabbi went to another rabbi, superior to him, and says, look at what these guys did. When they're moving, these guys that are hired, they dropped the barrel of wine in a whole year of work. At least they took their cloaks. So the guy looks at him and says, you think that that's justice? That's not justice. Go and give back their cloaks. So then he went, the guy did, and gave them back their cloaks to the workers. And so the workers, they weren't happy. They were like this, and then what about now? What are we going to do? We worked all day, we broke the barrel of wine, they're not going to pay for us, we're hungry, we can't feed our children. So then he went, the rabbi went back to his boss. Rabbi says, look at these guys, I gave them back, first they broke my wine, I gave them back their cloaks, and now they're complaining that they worked all day and they can't feed their children. So the rabbi says, you didn't pay them? Go and pay them what you told them. He says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do to you. In order to be just, you have to fulfill your word and do more than the rest. That is the moral of the story. He sent the rabbi to pay those guys. That they had broken his wine, they made him lose those things, and to top it off, he paid for their day of work. It has happened to me. It has happened to me. The story is identical to this. I have done in my home or my car, it's happened in certain things, and that what they did was complete dog shit. Complete dog shit. Bad work that I had to take it out. Have I acted? I've never told the guy, I'm not going to pay you. Get out of my house. How could you dare to have done that? No. I've paid for them. I didn't like it. I won't ever call the guy, but I paid the guy. what I said, or what he said, that a job was work, even if it was no good. I don't know why. When I read that, it says it's happened not once, many times. Now I've known people that say they did this job, and this is wrong here, or this is wrong. Since he did it wrong, I kicked him, and I said, I'm not going to pay you. And the job was free. He did it for free. He didn't pay for anything because he didn't do it like I wanted him to do it, to tell him to fuck off. Many times I've heard stories like that, and the people think that that's justice. That's not justice. If we want to impart justice, we have to be more just than what you believe. More just than what you believe. That's why I brought you this story. So then, I'll read. If you were to search for it like you do silver and search for it like treasures, then will you understand the fear of Yahweh, or the fear of evil, and find the knowledge of God. Precisely that is what we studied at Shabbat. You'll understand what God is, how God is, and what we don't want to ever be. I'll repeat this again. We never want to become Yahweh. We have tremendous fear of becoming Yahweh. The day in which we, the Messiah, becomes Yahweh, the world is just like what we live now, or worse, or worse. So then, having understood perfectly well all that, let us go to text number 6. Boca plays tomorrow. We've played a horrible game already. Horrible game. But it's preparation. Last one was rigged. We had to kick it wrong. If Boca were to win, they'll give a trophy to Boca. If Boca, who was the other team? I forgot already. I forgot. Oh, Millonarios, yes, Millonarios. A Colombian team. What do I know? They were Millonarios. Or Medellin or something. The Millonarios team. If Boca were to win, they would give Boca a trophy. If Millonarios would win, the Millonarios would get a trophy. If they tied, they would give a trophy to both. And the cup was called Miguel Angel Ruiz, so it was not to win. It was just a celebration, just a practice. If we were to win, it was not even a good game to win. I mean, we're just doing anything. We couldn't really score. I mean, this guy, sons of bitches, Merentiel. We have forwards that have a banana in their leg. I don't know how we made that a banana. Cavani has another banana. He's injured, but the rest, they kick below, to the side, in the middle, but it never enters. It never enters, never enters. And if we don't kick it slow like this, like a penalty, I hope that tomorrow we do beat Peñarol, one of the best of your Peñarol. So tomorrow will be a team, even though it's preparation, it's worthless. But I want us to play more seriously. The Uruguayan, they play well. The Warriors are very good. You have to put in a strong leg. Let's see what happens. Boca plays tomorrow at 4 my time. You look it up. Very well. Speaking about Boca, right? 6. And I hope that the Desumilde gets there. It's this guy, this Colombian guy. What's his name now? They call him... I forgot his name. The unhumble is what it means. They were in Colombia. They were interviewing him, and he's like unhumble. It's a word that we don't know. I don't know if it exists. I didn't look it up, but apparently either he invented it, or in Colombia, does it exist? Unhumble, non-humble. In other words, proud, however you want to say it. The unhumble, that's how they call this guy. Marino y Nestrosa. But in the Argentinian media, it really called their attention. It's common. Unhumble. It's just that we had never heard that word. So then it said, here's the unhumble inestrosa, because it was laughable. If you say that it's used, it's Portuguese. Oh, yeah? The unhumble. Unhumble. Let's see when the unhumble inestrosa gets us. We need him. They say he plays well. I've never seen him play. So it's a Portuguese word, unhumble. It doesn't speak Portuguese. He's a Colombian. It's like he's like, I'm an unhumble guy. Pelao, they say, means a young guy in Colombia. I'm an unhumble guy. I don't know a lot about Colombia. He said he was a pelao, which is a guy. Well, I hope that the unhumble guy gets here because we're waiting for him. He doesn't get here yet. He's not going to get here for tomorrow. I think he plays well. I don't know. We need, tell the truth, right wing. I want the unhumble guy to get here. Let's see when he gets here. Very well. 6. For Yahweh gives wisdom, and out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. Very well. Even if everything that I've said is true, and it's absolutely true that Yahweh is the father of lies, because he says so, because he's the first assassin, of course. He dictated death, he created it, and executed it, and kills us all. The assassin of everyone, the deceiver number one, and all of the rest of wickedness on this earth. He created it. He created the tree of the science of good and evil. He says, I do evil. He says, if in the city in which my name is invoked, I start to do evil. If in the city in which my name is invoked, I start to do evil. How's it going to happen to all the other cities? There's no evil that doesn't come to a city if I didn't send it. Evidently, he is evil. It doesn't take away that also from him comes wisdom, of course. It doesn't come from us. Wisdom, and out of his mouth, in other words, from what is written in this book, comes the knowledge and intelligence. We do not have to have any doubts that Yahweh comes both good and evil, the truth as lies, wisdom as ignorance, blessing as wickedness, in life and death. The same source, of the same source. For a small sample of that, let us go to Bereshit. We have the holy shit. The holy shit. The first book is Bereshit. Genesis chapter 322. Bereshit and the holy shit. 322. Look in your holy shit. For the book Bereshit. 322. Why are you laughing? I think there's some Christians protesting, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. So, hey Christian, you little Christian friend, look in your holy shit. For the first book that is called Bereshit. Chapter, yeah, because they come into evangel. Why don't you fuck off? What's his name? The poor idiot. Philadelphia, why don't you fuck off to your mother's cunt directly? I don't want to convert you in anything. I don't want you to listen to me. I don't want you to come to try to open our eyes. You have to grab that dog shit name you have, Philadelphia, because you're a faggot that you're not able to bear your own name. I love the people that use the name they are. And I tell all of you in the group, I like for the user to be called the way your name is. When you say the soldier of Christ, the faithful of this, why don't you fuck off to your mother's cunt? And you, Philadelphia, you fucking idiot, you could fuck off because I wouldn't want to listen to you or see you or read the stupid shit you write here. We consider you a fucking idiot. That when the time comes, we'll have to tell you, look, you fucking idiot. You see how you're an idiot? You're right. Now come and kneel and ask to be forgiven, and we'll give you eternal life. But for now, you can go fuck off to your mother's cunt. There's no place for you. So if you can please silence him, that's fine. Yeah, that's not the love of Christ that I'm speaking to you. It's not the love of your Christ, of course. But the true love of Christ, that one will have to bring you back someday and give you life. But you're still a fucking idiot. Very well. Treating people well, as they should. Placing them where they should. And what did I tell you? Okay, better shit. Genesis 3:22. Genesis 3:22. And tell the truth. I do not like, I'll never respect, under any aspect, pseudonyms that you use in the eternal truth. You want to have it for your YouTube account and to comment in other videos. You can do whatever you want. But every time you put a different name that is not your own, I see it as nauseous. You might say, what's your name? Ministry of the Eternal Truth. Well, this is the Ministry of the Eternal Truth. But I'm not hiding that I'm Christian Silva. Below that it says Christian Silva all over the place. But it's the ministry speaking to you. Just in case you want to say, well, what about yours? Very well. It's the channel. That's the name of the channel. That's the name of the channel. Very well. So then, let's go to Genesis 3:22. But tell the truth, do not insist for them to listen the other day. Well, taking this out. I was watching the video of Iru speaking to this guy. What's his name? Nicolas Moras. Nicolas Moras has a channel that's called The Liberals. They speak about all types of things against the government, of course, the ways of economy, and all types of conspiracies. Yes, exactly. That I've listened to many times. I'm sure that you know him, the Liberals. He has good information. I'm not sure if they're all true, but it's like entertainment that I watch him sometimes. He says information, all the rest. His name is Nicolas Moras. Some time ago, he developed a hate against flat Earth. Who knows why? I don't care. But they crossed paths, he and Iru made some videos against Iru, and Iru made a very long video against him. To tell the truth, me personally, I didn't really like for Iru to go down to his level. The message of Iru is very clear. The flat Earth is the flat Earth. And if a guy doesn't want to listen, don't even care about him. You don't like what the flat Earth, just do your own. But don't speak about the Jesuits because they invented all the flat Earth. Obviously, this goes way past that. We understand way past that. But, tell the truth, sometimes we don't have to insist in a subject when they can't see it. When they can't see it, just do your own thing, Moras. Iru, you're the best presenter of Flat Earth. If you didn't understand your videos, I mean, don't even dedicate 2 minutes. Yeah, you go on with your life, Nicolas. Do your videos. Nothing happens. Don't worry. I'm not going to convince you of absolutely a thing. Very well. That's all I wanted to say. Nothing else. Sometimes it's ugly to see two people fighting or arguing in a video. The only thing that Moras did was for him to, because most are flat earthers because we like conspiracy theories and we understand the truth. And when he says, I hate the flat earthers, it doesn't hate, but he says, for me, it is the controlled opposition. It's a deceit. Well, the only thing that he does is that for me to say, I'm not going to want to watch your videos, Moras, anymore. Right, of course, if you lie this way, saying that we are a conspiracy, then why am I going to believe in the other conspiracies that you want to make me understand? Nah, What a shame. You should have said, Moraz. You should have said, you know what? I don't understand the flower. Tell the truth. It's a subject that I don't handle it. When I understand it and study it, we'll speak later. But for now, I don't understand it. So I'm not going to get into that subject. That would be acceptable, but not to go against the flat earth. It is very stupid to do that. He loses prestige. Yes, exactly. And aside from that, of your followers, I can assure you that most of them are flat earthers. Exactly. And it wasn't convenient for you because they start to see you. You are against us. I don't want to see you anymore. To be in front of a camera, I mean, it's everything. It's everything. It's everything. It's everything. The guy, he loses credibility. He shouldn't show his face anymore. It's lost. It's all lost. There's no more. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Exactly. Okay, going back to Genesis 3:22, what it says, and Yahweh Elohim said, Jehovah God, behold, man is become as one of us, knowing good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. This text is tremendous. We can revise it word by word, and it has messages all over the place. Here, Yahweh is saying that man already knows good and evil, but man did not know good and evil. Man, what he had done is that he had eaten of the tree of the science of good and evil. And according to what we can understand, is that not even is he referring to eating of the tree of science, but he's referring to the act of having disobeyed him, of saying, don't eat of that tree. That very act of have disobeying him, of stealing a fruit per se, to have stolen a fruit and eating it, already that makes him as one of them, knowing good and evil. And if to that we add that supposedly, like an allegory or however you want to see it, in that fruit was contained the science of good and evil. That's why when he ate it, it had an effect that their eyes were opened and they noticed that they were naked. What a strange thing, in effect, the tree made. It showed them a reality that they couldn't see. They were blind. Blind to their bodies, because they were seeing, obviously, but that blindness that's partial, like it could be towards the Bible, towards the message of the scripture, that partial blindness like Israel has, they could read the Bible, they're blind. That partial blindness was taken away by eating the tree. They noticed that they were naked. Up until that point, they didn't know they were naked. And when they saw each other naked, a shame entered to be part of evil. That shame is. They don't tell you, but that shame, it's an emotion that comes also from the science of good and evil. And they went and they made dresses for themselves from the fig tree, which represents Israel. They covered their justice with the Torah. It is a prophecy that they were going to try to cover their nakedness or their injustice or their wickedness with the leaves of Israel, with the Torah. And then God came and covered them with skin, which supposedly it was a sacrifice, and the sacrifice gave him the actual skins, actual leather, and not with the Torah, but they accepted the skin or the leather of the lamb, like a prophecy per se. A prophecy, which I could care less of right now. What I care about is what this says. Behold, man is like one of us, knowing good and evil. The word knowing is the one that really called my attention, because we've always read it as knowing, and never did we think about reading it with the different words of knowing. Knowing good and evil. Actually, knowing, it says knowing or only knowing, and we just stay knowing and don't give any depths, because Hebrew is very deep in the sense that it's very limited, and a word means many things. But in Spanish, knowing is knowing. Knowing is something about knowing, but not about practicing. It's knowing. But in Hebrew, knowing, it implies many other things. So then I look for the word knowing, which the word is shada. From the Strong's Dictionary, H3045, H3045. The word jada, which says primary root of knowing, used in a great variety of senses, figuratively speaking, literally. Euphemism, inference, include observation, care, recognizing, causative of instruction, designation, punishment. Also, it's the meaning. It's so great that one has such a quantity to appear, the case, celebrity, to know, to have no knowledge, to answer, to take care, to declare, to know, to direct, to discern, to distinguish, doctors, to teach, to understand, to have understood, to enter, to examine, to experience, to expert, familiar, ignorance, also to inquire, manifestation, to know, to notify, to perceive, to worry, principle, prince, to respond, knowing, to signal, also wise men, to signal, to have and see, and to feel. So then, what if we change some? Instead of knowing, we say teaching. Exactly. It's like one of us teaching good and evil. Why do I bring this word of knowing? Because in God is not, we're just knowing. God does not know good and evil like the Christians say. No, God knows good and evil. No. God exercises good and evil. God teaches any one of these words. God teaches good and evil. God is an expert in good and evil. God experiences good and evil. It is like one of us, an expert in good and evil. Exactly. Now, it's a very soft word, knowing. Someone could know, and that's all. No. God doesn't know. God is an expert. And not just an expert, but he teaches. The word teaching comes from there too. So then it's like one of us. He teaches good and evil. Who taught us good and evil? He did. Who designed the tree? He did. Who was the engineer, architect of that tree? He was. The science of good and evil, who placed that in that tree? He did. So then, it's not just knowing, it is knowing, practicing, teaching, being an expert. An expert that looked into experience. God is a great expert, experienced in evil. What did he expect for us not to? Of course. We were going to be experts in evil. We become all humanity experts of wickedness? Absolutely. Absolutely. Just like our Creator. That's where it comes. That the principle of wisdom, I do not want to be like Yahweh. In Christianity, they teach us, I want to be like Jesus. The only thing that I want is to be like Jesus. I follow Jesus. I am like Jesus. Jesus is my role model. Knowing that Jesus is Yahweh, I have to say, I do not want to be in any way like Yahweh. I fear becoming Yahweh. Because who become Yahweh? All who have power in this world. Or not power, and they're evil. Netanyahu became Yahweh? Yes, absolutely. A minion of Yahweh became Yahweh. Same nature. Trump, same thing. All the rest, despots that have existed in this world, same thing. It was Hitler. Just like the character of Yahweh, exactly the same. A copy. Hitler became Yahweh. Evil. They all become evil. All of them. All who receive power become evil. So then we, on the eve, or knowing that we're going to receive power, we have to clearly understand what no one in humanity else had, which is the fear of becoming Yahweh, the fear of Yahweh, the fear of evil. So then, behold, man is like one of us, knowing good and evil. It is exactly we are a reflection of Yahweh. This whole humanity is a reflection of Yahweh. And the new Messiah should not, under any circumstance, be like Yahweh. That is why, and even in this text, it is found, behold, man is like one of us. Take out that part that says knowing, but it's practicing. Practicing and experiencing good and evil. Now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. There's also a message for the Messiah, that those who live forever should not live forever practicing evil. It's precisely, they say, lest that happen, because the tree of life represents the Messiah. The tree of life represents the Messiah, because the one that gives life unto the world is the Messiah. So then, when the Messiah gives of his nature, of his fruit to the people, in this parable, in this metaphor, then the people will take eternal life from the Messiah. Now, if the Messiah gives eternal life to people that still don't know how to discern, nor do they want to stop practicing evil, they'll become people that are wicked, that live forever. So then the Messiah, by giving eternal life, he has to actually be sure that they're people that do not practice evil. That is what the text says. It says, behold, man is like one of us, knowing good and evil. Yet let him not put his hand forth and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. In that condition, he cannot take of the tree of life. Because I do not want to become Yahweh. Yahweh is a person that lives forever, practicing good and evil. We are not. If we were that way, then why is there a change of government? Let Yahweh, and that's it, it's over. Either we're different to Yahweh, or for just let Yahweh continue. 7. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. The righteous, I like just the word, but you can read righteous. Because they're righteous, not asses, like I've explained, because righteous in Spanish, the word right is like rectum, like to be correct, rectum, like I taught you, this guy's a rectum, no. But the word righteous is okay, but they should not have called that organ a rectum. That was wrong. The word correct is correct. It's straight. He laid up sound wisdom to the righteous or the just. He's a buckler to them that walk uprightly. Well, I doubt that unless he has defined plans for those people. I know that Solomon is saying it, but it's those things that I start to say Solomon hasn't the least idea. He still doesn't see who God is. And he writes out of inspiration. Solomon was another minion of his, like all of us are too. Because maybe under any aspect, I'm going to tell you, I have freed myself from Yahweh. I tell you what I want. No, I tell you that if I tell you what I tell you, it is because Yahweh controls me. I have to recognize it. If I didn't recognize it, I'd be a deceiver. Because if I believe that Yahweh controls everything, then he controls me, he controls the one that left, he controls you. He controls you. He controls you. So then, if we believe that we're minions of his, then Solomon wrote, inspired, in many things that he thought and many things that he didn't think. And Yahweh put him to add it on there because this book gives wisdom unto the world, but especially to the Messiah. So then he layeth up sound wisdom to the righteous. Yes, the only wisdom that we have comes from God. There's no other turn of the page. There's no turn of the page. It wasn't because some genius was going to... No. It has to come from God. He gives it to whom he wishes. And he's a buckler to them that walk uprightly. Yes, unto those that he wants. Unto those that he wants to. No one else. Those that he doesn't want to, they're going to end up in the hole. That's it. It's over. 8. He keepeth the paths of judgment, and preserveth the way of his saints. Of those that he wants. This is written very, very biased. All his saints and his just are dead. So then I'm not going to say, oh, this is of ours, those aren't going to die. No. Not at all. Actually, of those that he wants, as long as it's convenient to him. When it's not convenient, he sends them to, puts them to death like Moses, all the rest. Kills them directly, like with Moses. Moses died, assassinated by Yahweh. It's more than clear. And for him, he was a righteous person. Not for me, but for him, he was a righteous person, obedient, a good minion. That no, he killed him. The devil pays wrong to those that he wants, that serve him. That is what should be written. Replacing Yahweh for devil. Yahweh mispays to those who serve him because all of his apostles and prophets are dead. Then you'll understand justice, judgment, and equity exactly. I read this that it's crooked, it is twisted, so then I understand justice. I understand that in God there is no justice. I understand justice that he doesn't have. Justice that he cannot do justice to anyone. And equity. That is what I understand, that the equity of humans, he needs for them to return things in all good paths. So then I'll read all this again, because it's all metaphors. It's all buried. This is the holy shit. The holy shit. It's filled of shit. This is pure shit. It's just that I explained it to you. He provides of sane judgment, and he's a buckler to those who walk upright, and he is the one that keeps the paths of the righteous, and those of his saints. That is shit to the highest level. And then shall thou understand righteous. There I understand everything. That he kills them all. He doesn't forgive not even his just, not even his saints. He, to his best servants, he kills them like Moses. If he has to kill the entire world, he kills the entire world. Then shalt thou understand righteousness. Now I understand it, who our God creator is. Holy shit, now I understand it. So then thou shalt understand righteousness, and the more I understand the holy shit, the more I have the fear of Yahweh. The more and more fear of Yahweh, of becoming Yahweh. Then shalt thou understand righteousness, judgment, and equity. Yeah, every good path. Exactly. Only when you see Yahweh as he is, then you start to understand justice, something that he never gave us or did to us. Judgment, something that he did to us in a horrible way, kills us all in his judgment. And the equity that he never gave us, and every good path that he never gave us. 10. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee. The word discretion is magnificent. It is better translated in a way... No, translator's fine. But what does it mean? Discretion. What does discretion mean? The Spanish Royal Academy says about discretion, it is sanity to form judgment and tact to speak or act. The sanity, something sane, thought that it makes logic, and to have judgment, not just rushed judgment. Oh no, because it is what I feel and that's how it's got to be. That's what I think. No. To have the prudence to form judgment and tactful when speaking or acting. Synonyms of discretion: measure, in other words, everything well measured. Prudence, perfect. Circumspection, moderation, reserve, tact, sagacity, wisdom. Antonyms, in other words, the contrary. What would be the contrary to discretion according to the Spanish Royal Academy? Stupidity and unwise. So the non-stupidity will keep you. So discretion will keep you and intelligence preserve you. How do you understand this? Well, let's go to Proverbs 2:11, but this text in the New Living Translation. Proverbs 2:11, what we're reading, New Living Translation. It says, wise choices instead of discretion. It explains said wise choices will watch over you. It is correct. This is absolute wisdom. If it's not wise, it's stupid. Either wise or stupid. Sometimes we do stupid shit, and we pay for the price. Sometimes we do wise things, and we say, oh, wow, what a good job. But it's one or the other. Either wise or stupid. There's no turn of the page. Sometimes the people get upset and say, this is stupid. No. Either being wise or stupid. Okay, I'll read it again. Wise choices will protect you. Understanding will keep you safe. Yeah, this is what I'm reading. The wise choices will watch over you. I'm reading in the New Living Translation. Wise choices, if they're not wise, they're stupid. Wise choices will watch over you. Understanding will keep you safe. In other words, once you understand things, that can keep you safe with life. Now, in the Serafín Ausejo, I like the way they translated it. Proverbs 2:11 SA, Serafín Ausejo. The reflection, it's not discretion, but reflection. I loved it because it's precisely, discretion is something that you reflect upon. The reflection shall preserve thee, and prudence shall be your protection. Exactly. This text is beautiful, absolutely incredible, but it only takes place when, with this conditional. When? Number 10. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and you're to know how it can start to form wisdom or forge it. What is the first base? The fear of evil. So then when you already start to understand, to reason, and to comprehend that you should develop fear of evil, not automatic, you start to develop it, you already have conscience thereof, of what it fears, the fear of evil, what it means. You have conscience thereof, fear, terror of becoming evil. So then, when you understand that, when wisdom enters into your heart, and science, it's not science of the world, but the science of holy shit. That one, yeah, that's science. The science of the Bible, nothing else, no other science. In order to know wisdom, right? And the science where good unto thy soul, barely then will discretion preserve thee, or the reflection shall watch over thee, or the wise decisions will protect you. But everything begins with the wisdom. When it starts with wisdom, your decisions start to be wise. When your decisions are stupid, you go back to the original point. Maybe you still don't have the fear of evil. Every time you do something wrong, go back to the beginning. What did I do wrong? What I did wrong is that I don't have fear of Yahweh. That's why I did something wrong. So then I'll start all over again to build. I have to go back to the place of building, because I can think I'm too wise, very wise, very wise, very wise. And then I do something, look at myself and say, how did I do this? How did I do this? Because I crossed the very principle of wisdom, which is the fear of becoming evil. And now doing this, I became evil. Where do I have to go back? To the beginning. To the beginning. And to say, I'm going to build again. This time, since I don't want to cross the limit of becoming evil, I have the fear of evil, I'm going to start to create barriers of protection in order for me to not cross them. Not laws. No. Personal laws of your own. Personal laws of your own. An example, I could give just an example, simple that just came to mind. A person that is dominated by alcohol. So then the person comes and he knows that a little drink takes him to another drink, and which takes him to another drink, and that he doesn't know or why he ends up drunk. He opens a bottle of liquor, that bottle will not be left for tomorrow. It'll be empty because there's something stronger than him that when he starts it, he can't stop it. And he already knows that. So then he says, okay, I have this. What is the evil? To be drunk. How do I not become a drunk? By putting up barriers, because I have that, and I don't want to become a drunk. I want to be and keep the principle of wisdom. What do I have to do? Not to ever drink. But the other guy drinks. He can drink a little drink once a week or once a month, and that he doesn't have that effect. That's his problem, though. My problem, in the case of this person, my problem is that if I take a drink, I don't stop, and I take another, and another, and another, and another. I'm drunk. I have problems at home. My children see me drunk. I'm a disaster. I can't work well. The next day, my head hurts. I don't know what I did during the night. I can do things that later I repent from. So then, how I become an absolute evil done to a guy that has no conscience, no soul, nothing. He's drunk. And everything that he's going to do wrong. Even driving, he's going to do wrong. He can become an assassin by killing family. So then how do you stop that evil? By saying, I will not drink one sole drink. So then he puts up a barrier, a personal barrier for him. For me, I don't drink. I don't drink. That's one case. Drugs are another case. Women could be another case. Not women, but the temptation towards women of men. I'm always giving examples for men. Something like Solomon. It could be a woman a drunk. It could be a woman drunk. A woman could be horny. It could be a whole bunch of things here. A whole bunch of things. Whole bunch of things. So then, it could be all those types of, I am speaking to men and women. So then, anything that takes you to evil, covetry, that's a good example. Covetry is pure evil. What do I do to not be in the terrain of covetry? Well, I stay in the fear of not being covetous. So then, you have to start to practice in not coveting. It's simple as that. How's it? By starting to be joyful with what before used to have covetry. Is it difficult? It's a work that you have to do. No one's going to do it for you. The Messiah's not going to come and say, you covet this person, tin tin, you're not covetous anymore. Just like with a magic wand. Oh, you were always a covetous person. Oh, with a little wand, you're no longer that. I changed your heart. Because the Christians wait for that. That God's going to give them, take the heart, not of stone, and give him a heart of flesh. And then he says, I'm going to write commandments. You don't even practice it. He's going to write it in my soul. We used to think that. So then I'm no longer going to be covetous. I'm no longer going to be wanting to steal or lie or whatever. Because God's going to give me another set of laws. No, bad news for you. You're going to have to do a brutal job yourself. And that work starts from now if you want to be a part of those who will be redeemers. The redeemers, those are going to do a job like the fucking mother. Like nothing is free. Nothing to make your life easier. No. We'll give you tools. We'll tell them the truth. But the things, you got to work them everyone on their own because you have to earn the victory. So then, all principle begins with fearing becoming evil. Could be a drunk, a drug addict, and whatever other thing. Or just what I've told you before, which was covetry. Because to be a covetous person is evil. It's to be evil. It is becoming evil. A covetous person in the state of covetry is becoming a bad person. And in that state, we're absolutely away from wisdom and away from the Messiah. Away completely. A covetous person is a person in a state of wickedness. Absolutely. Are you a covetous person? Are you stingy? Are you a thief? You have to start to come out of that state and check everything that I've told you in the subject. From the beginning of wisdom is the fear of becoming evil. The fear of becoming evil. It is very good in English. How do you say it? The fear of God is of Jehovah is the fear is what do you say in English? The fear of God is what? I forgot the word. No, the beginning. How do you say? How do you say in English? Is not to be of the wisdom. Is the beginning of wisdom? Okay, the beginning of wisdom. The fear of God is the beginning of no. I have to say it backwards. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of becoming evil. That's how I have to say it in English. You have to turn it around. It wouldn't say the fear of becoming evil is the beginning of wisdom. Oh, knowledge? Okay, but wisdom is better. It's better. Okay, so then the fear of becoming evil is the beginning of wisdom. Of the beginning of wisdom directly, right? Of wisdom, right? Of wisdom. It's spectacular, right? Spectacular. It sounds excellent in English. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of becoming evil. The fear of becoming evil is the beginning of wisdom. Spectacular. In both ways, if I say it in the beginning or at the end. Very well. So then, discretion shall keep you and preserve you in intelligence. Spectacular, but only that when wisdom enters your heart. And how does it enter your heart? First, by forming the base, which is the beginning of the start. The principle of wisdom is the fear of becoming evil. When that is understood and practiced, then wisdom enters your heart and science is good unto your soul. Then the reflection shall watch over you and prudence shall be your protection. And I believe that I'll leave you with that text, number 12, I'll leave for next Shabbat. Next Shabbat, we'll read number 12, because all this is the base for the wise man. Solomon will tell you that wisdom will protect you of two things, specifically of the bad men and of the women. That we'll see, because essentially women are evil. Solomon says. So it'll protect you of the bad man and of the women. That we'll see next Shabbat. It is very interesting what I have to say about that. You'll understand it clearly, but it is a subject that comes for next chapter. So then, the only thing I'll tell you today is as follows. Psalm 78, 1 through 2, New Living Translation. All my people hear my teachings. Open your ears unto what I say, for I shall speak to you by means of a parable. I shall speak to you or teach you hidden lessons of our past. Semper Fi. The destiny is written. The end is inevitable. God, the true God, is Argentinian. Let's go the eternal truth. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory. Let us live, or we swear, with glory to die. Do not forget to comment. Do not forget to give us a like. Do not forget to do an introspection, a deep look into yourselves, and to see how strong you have the foundation of wisdom. Because the entire wisdom that you can accumulate in your life, if the foundation is wrong, you cannot accumulate wisdom. The foundation is the beginning and foundation of wisdom is the fear of becoming evil. Hallelujah to every one of you. We shall meet again next Shabbat. Let's go back up. Maybe we win tomorrow, and let's go the eternal truth.